Hey, what's up? Welcome to another video here on my channel. I'm so glad that already a lot of you guys checked out my first video to the Fujifilm X-T4 where I compared some different color profiles, different settings. If not, you can check it out somewhere here in the info card. And yeah, this time we're going to talk about cinematic settings for the Fujifilm that you get the best and juiciest image out of your camera. I'm sorry if it's too loud. Here's a party going on in the backyard. I think, but it's not too loud. I think that's okay. I like to know what you think about this color look because I'm trying some different colors and I really like that look. So I think I'm gonna keep this one for a while. But before we start with the video, I want to thank you so far that already a lot of you guys checked out my video. I'm kind of new to this talking to the camera and sitting in front of the camera, and I'm still improving my English. But I think I'm on a good way. So thank you again for this. And now let's start with the video. We begin with the movie settings. I always film in 4K 16:9 because then I have more options in post-production to crop in my picture. And I use, because I live in Germany and Europe, 25 frames as my base frame rate. If you live in the US, you can choose 24 frames or 23.98 frames as your base frame rate. To get the highest quality out of your camera, you can go with 400 megabytes per second. But the downside of this, you need a big and fast SD card in your camera because you get huge video files. So for example, 2 minutes of 400 megabytes per second video footage is around 6.5 gigabyte big. So if you don't have a fast SD card, you can also go with 200 megabytes per second. If you're planning to slow down your video footage, you can go either with 50 frames per second, 59.94 frames, or you can go even higher in full HD high speed recording. You turn this on, and then you can go up to 240 frames per second, which is 10 times slow motion. So let's get over to the file format. I always film an MOV H.265 codec, which gives you 10-bit of color, and with that you have more flexibility in color grading. But also there's a downside. You need a really fast computer to work with these files easily. Just try it out, and when your working station isn't fast enough, you go with MOV H.264, which is totally enough for YouTube. So going over to the movie compression, I choose long GOP, which is a compressed file format, but you see when I go to all intra, it says that it's automatically changed 50p to 25p, and you can't film slow motion in 4K, so I go with long GOP. If you choose F-Log as your color profile to work with, you have to turn it on over here, F-Log HLG recording, and then you have to turn the small film roll symbol into F-Log. And here you can also change your settings when you have an external monitor connected to your camera. Okay, going over to the next page, I go to the IBIS mode. I always keep it on IBIS and OIS, which is the in-body stabilization of the camera and the optical stabilization of the lens. And you can also boost it with a digital stabilization, but I don't like it. I like the kind of handheld look. That's why I keep it like this. Okay, going over to the zebra settings. If you need another brightness controller of your image, you can turn them on. And then you can see when I overexpose some parts of my image, you will get this zebra look like over here. A very nice setting is the movie optimized control. I always keep that on, because then you can change your shutter speed, aperture and ISO only with the small dials, and you don't have to use the big ones, which are not easy to reach while filming. So for the image quality settings, I already did a small comparison video, which you maybe check out to find your favorite color profile. But for the most of the time, I use the Eterna profile with these settings. And for the white balance, I let the camera set the white balance by itself. And then I use the white balance lock function on the camera. With the white balance lock function, the camera will not change the white balance during your filming. Okay, going over to the autofocus and manual focus settings, making the focus settings a little quicker. Most of the time I use manual focus because I just have fun to do it by myself. But for a little support, I go over to the manual focus assist. and turn on the focus peaking. And then you can choose between different colors. And I always go with the color which is not very often in my pictures. And in this situation, I want to track a subject, a person in front of my camera. Like for example, when filming a wedding video, I turn on the face and eye detection setting, which worked really great with this camera. So in the screen setup, I go over to the framing guideline, where I choose grid 9 to compose my image more cinematic. And if you're filming f-log, you can turn on the view assist over here. With the view assistant, you can change your log picture with the button to a pre-graded picture to rate your exposure and colors a little bit easier. So last thing in the screen settings, I go over to display custom setting, turn on the electronic level and histogram to get better control of my image. On the display itself, you can change your shutter speed, aperture and ISO. How these three settings work together, you can learn in a bunch of other videos on YouTube when you don't know it until now. To make it short, to get the most cinematic video settings, I keep my shutter speed the double as my frame rate. So I'm filming in 25 frames now, so I turn down my shutter speed to 1/50th of a second. When you film in 50 frames, you go with 100th of a second and so on. So with the ISO, I try to keep my ISO as low as possible to get the best image quality. And the aperture is changing all the time depending what kind of picture I want to shoot and what lens I use on the camera. I think that's it for the most important settings in your Fujifilm X-T4. Of course, you can use all these settings for similar cameras like Panasonic GH5, the Sony cameras, or even the Fujifilm X-T3. I think they're all the same. You can use the same settings. These are kind of cinematic basics, so you can take them and put them on your other camera as you like. There's also a lot more small specific things you can change in your camera to make your workflow even easier, but I think it was a good overview of the most important settings to get the best picture out of your Fujifilm X-T4. At the end, one more tip for you. You can save all your settings on the My Menu tab, the last tab in the menu system. You can customize it by yourself, how you like it, and put all your most important settings, which you have to change all the time. You can put them there and change it very quickly. I hope that helped you quite a bit to get better with the Fujifilm X-T4. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section and I will answer them. And again, thank you for checking out my videos and my channel, and see you in the next one.